We do a lot of contemporary thought, critical research at our center, whereas the Varanasi Center is dedicated to Indology. On behalf of Volt Gallery, as well as us, it is my privilege to introduce William Kentridge, an artist of no mean stature, as well as of international repute. William Kentridge studied at the Johannesburg Art Foundation and the École Jacques Lecoq in Paris. He was a founding member of the Free Filmmakers Cooperative in 1988. In 1998, a major retrospective exhibition opened at the Palais des Beaux-Arts, Brussels. A second exhibition, co-organized by the Museum of Contemporary Art Chicago and the New Museum of Contemporary Art New York, took place in 2001. Kentridge has participated in a number of international biennales and in Documenta 10, 1997, as well as Documenta 11 in 2002. His range of creativity, which straddles an artistic world that comprises of drawings, collage, prints, books, sculpture, painting, as well as film, videography, theater, performance. And the last through both conception, through direction, acting, and writing. I mean, you can imagine just the sheer range of his creativity. And I'll just mention a few of the exhibitions that I had the privilege of seeing. The rest of it, William's going to take us through his entire creative process to us today, which we're really very fortunate to be able to see and experience. This range of creativity has been honored through several awards. The first award was given to him in 1982 when he was all of 27. And this award was called the Red Ribbon Award for Short Fiction. It was given by the American Film Festival in New York for the title being Howl at the Moon. Now you can imagine starting with fiction. Then he goes through for a prize for drama, short film competition award. I'm not even giving you the details. I'm just telling you all that it is. Short film, another short film competition award, Young Artist Award. That was in 1987. The nomination for the Hugo Boss Prize by the Soho Guggenheim in 1998, the Carnegie Prize, the Sharjah Biennale Sixth Prize, the Kesering Prize in 2003. So these are just some of the honors. And of course, he was given the honorary doctorate, which is, so I really should have introduced you as Dr. William Kentridge, which was awarded to him by Rhodes University of South Africa. His exhibitions, the one I was very fortunate to be able to see was titled William Kentridge 5 Themes, and it has traveled extensively all over the world. I saw it at the Museum of Modern Art in New York, but it's been to the Israel Museum, Jerusalem, the Amsterdam Museum, the Jeu de Paume, Paris, Albertina Museum, Vienna, Austria, Japan. I mean, it's all over the world. And that exhibition has left, I mean, to me, was literally a turning point in my understanding of an oeuvre this as vast as what he showed. And I remember seeing it once, and of course you can't see it in one go. I went back 3 times, and each time I spent 4 hours. It was just not only so vast, but so intricate, where he talks about, some of it I remember, talking about colonialism, nationalism, apartheid, with I think Ubu was the one with apartheid, and which William's going to share with us today. And it was truly awesome. And then when Tushar Jivrajka, who's sitting at the back, mentioned that William is going to be here, showing at his gallery, which at an opening starts tomorrow. And it was just a stroke of luck as far as we are concerned. And we thank you, Tushar, and of course, a biggest thank you to you and Anne for being with us. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome William Kentridge.
Thank you. Originally, when I planned this talk, I decided I would give a very detailed description and etiology of the work that I'm showing on exhibition at Volt Gallery. And then I realized that, in fact, I would be talking for an hour and I'd show about 1 minute of visual materials. And I was strongly advised, most strongly by my wife, that that would not be satisfactory. So the plan has changed. Also, let it be said that you did mention the doctorate, but my wife is a real doctor, having studied all her years at medical school, and said, on pain of excommunication, do I ever think of myself as a doctor? So the section about the exhibition that is on at Volt has got compressed from an hour into about 6 minutes, somewhere in the middle of what I'm going to be showing you. And I'm going to be showing you a wide range of different projects and fragments of projects and starting points of projects to try to give some sense of what happens in the studio and the logic of that. So to start with, it's going to be low on thinking and high on looking. But I'm very happy that as it develops, and particularly after I've shown the first body of work, to direct it through the things and questions you might have about either details of ways of working or things you've seen, and I have a computer full of other things that can be looked at. And then at a certain point you just have to say, hold, enough, okay, we're done. But the work that I do all happens in the studio, and the physical space of the studio becomes very important. Not the particular studio that I have, one in the garden in my house in Johannesburg and one in the center of the city, but the fact of a physical space. There are many artists who work just with computers, but for me it's very much about the circling of the studio. And the activity of circling the studio, which happens before each piece of work is done or while it's done. And the studio, as a typical studio, is full of pinboards with images, fragments, postcards, headlines, photostats, sketches, half-finished drawings. And it's as if the cumulative circling of the studio, of seeing all these objects through peripheral vision, is vital to kind of gather both the energy and the images that finally happen in the studio. So there are quite a lot of images of the studio, and I'll keep coming back to what that means, to the broader metaphors of working in the studio. But I thought I'd start with a simple introductory piece which was made about 2 years ago, and it's a good beginning for a talk, and it's self-explanatory. Between the films, you've just got to set the sound up and down. We have a slight technical imbalance between the computer. So we're ready for the first film. Thank you. This interview for the New York Studio School is conducted on Sunday, the 3rd of October at 9:15 p.m. 9:05 p.m. Now, we have 3 minutes, so please keep your answers succinct, to the point, and make them accessible to a general public and audience that is listening. Can you describe your life as an artist? I mean, can you rather say what it was that you did today to give us some sense of how you fill your hours between waking and sleeping every day? I mean, can you tell us about what
if there was
inspires
enough time,
you? I mean,
I would be able
how
to
is
so many different things that one could begin to spin out for everyone here. But it's just that there's such a short to explain how one gets from the first.
He's not saying anything that's interesting at all. I mean, he's not talking about truth or truth and beauty or about mystic truths that are revealed by the artist to the compulsion. He's talking about mayonnaise.
I mean, if I could just explain these things better to Tabasco sauce. All right, let's talk about inspiration. I mean, would you say that your inspiration comes from skies as coupled-coloured as a brindled cow? That's Hopkins. Gerald Manley. Know it's Hopkins. I have read everything that you have read, and more. All right, here's a question. Can one teach art? Yes. No. I write that down. No. I mean, either you have the ability to make art or you don't. Would you agree? No. I write down yes. I mean, what makes you tick? I mean, can we get one word of truth out of you? We'll wait here to hear the answer. I will outwait you. Bitter year for bitter year. Okay, all right. At least can you describe how you make your work? I mean, perhaps it's like an image that you have in your head, and you start at the top and you pull this image comes closer and closer towards you. Or do you start with a blank sheet of paper, and then slowly you find this intermediate membrane between yourself and the world that enables you to navigate your way? It's really of no value whatsoever. Feeble. I don't quite know what he's doing here this evening at all. That concludes our interview.
So that was one body of work that I was doing a couple of years ago, and I was very interested in what happens about the split of the self into two different figures. In that case, the interview being done, but it's a split which we'll come back to later on in the studio, and it's both a common psychological split, where we are aware of having different selves, but it also relates very closely to what it is to be in the studio as an artist, as someone both making and someone watching what is made. In the sense that as you do a drawing, there's part of you which is busy with the drawing, and then as you step back, a separate self judges, castigates, sends you back to the drawing board to fix what you have made. So we'll come back to that in the studio, but before we go on, I want to, particularly for people who are not familiar with a large body of my work, show you one of the films, one of the sets of drawings in the background behind that conversation were some landscape drawings, some trees, and those were drawings which were made as part of an animated film that was set in Johannesburg. It's part of a series of 10 films that have been made over the last 20 years. Each film takes about 9 months to make. And they're animation, but instead of doing hundreds of different drawings for each film, or thousands of different drawings, there's a low number of drawings, maybe 40 or 50 drawings, but each drawing is altered and animated and erased and redrawn in a constant walk between the drawing and the camera that brings the movement. And so the piece I'm going to show you now is in effect the most substantive and complete of the fragments we will look at, and the others are really a way of talking about what happens in the studio. So this film it's 9 minutes long, and we'll watch it right through. We can take the sound down a little bit.
so bright.